Olly Fawcett joins me on the show, and there's one thing you need to know about Olly before the episode begins, and that is a legend. Olly has something that makes him a great leader. He cares. He cares about his business, his brand, and everyone that works with him. Olly is the CEO and founder of 303 London, a creative performance agency for premium and luxury brands, working for some big names such as Puresport, Herbal Essences and Eleat. On this episode, we spoke about how he started his business at 17 in his bedroom, and now fast forward 10 years later, being a CEO and business owner of 303 London. Chatting marketing, brands, culture and success, I left with a new perspective on founders and a new friend. Olly and his team are killing the game, so please check out what he's doing, which I'll link below. Also, enjoy the episode as much as I did, and don't forget to subscribe. Olly, welcome to the podcast.
Mate, thanks so much.
How you doing?
Good, man. Good. I mean, it's taken us a while to get this arranged, but it's good, mate. No, for sure. Thanks so much for coming down south.
I was going to say, it's not the best day weather for it, but
no, it hasn't,
we'll make it work. We'll make it work. I guess for those who don't know you, maybe going back to like origins, so school, college, that kind of thing. Do you want to maybe just give us a brief overview?
It's probably a shorter story than most. So yeah. No, I mean, where to start really? I did the normal routes of primary school, secondary school, and then by the time I got to college, was very much on the mindset of not going further in education. Mm-hmm. So I think, to be honest, I think I've really decided about not going to uni around kind of like, do you remember the school riots and stuff?
Yes.
Do you remember that? I think I was about 2 years behind that happening, if that makes sense. So like everyone was kicking off at that time. So yeah, that for me made me just go like, nah, not up for it. But also just, I'd never really gelled with education stuff. And I've got a handful of GCSEs and then I've got an E in business at A level. So that's about it. But I started my company while I was at college. So yeah, that was kind of where I guess the origins started. For a lot of it, which is cool. And then, since there, I've been running the same company I run today.
Nice one.
About 10 years later.
Yeah, I was going to say, were we the same age?
I was born in 96.
95. Okay.
Yeah, so you might be the same school year, but you might be a little bit...
but yeah, I was there like early September, baby.
Yeah,
I was like one of the oldest in the year, which is quite good.
Nice.
And then I guess university, because I know I've listened to a few other podcasts you've done.
Yeah.
University wasn't for you, because obviously college, you obviously 16 to 18, and then you
I just never thought it would be a thing, you know? I think like, I don't know, I think uni, I've said this kind of before, but if you're going to do like heart surgery, go to uni.
Yeah.
If you're going to do geography, like maybe give it a question. I just think it's the opportunity loss that I really took into account, is like, if I went to uni and spent 3 years finding myself or getting drunk or whatever, what do I come out of it with? I was definitely not in a bigger group of people that believe that. I was probably a minority, I guess, in that sense. Like most people thought uni's the right path. And yeah, it's great for so many things, like, you know, people, culture, like finding yourself, giving yourself some time, etc. But for me, I just kind of wanted to get into it as soon as I can. My view was always, I could go and start something, and if it fails or I don't like it by the time I'm 30, I'm still young as fuck and I can go do something else. That was kind of my attitude, and I guess still is. You know, I'm 3 years off 30, which is slightly terrifying. But like I'm still so young, you know, so I don't have to think about that so much. So a little bit risky, but it's kind of paid off.
I think it's good though. I think because all the guests I've had on, we always talk about university and how, if it's the right path for some people, and like I think you hit the nail on the head with where you said about, you know, if you're a heart surgeon, you're a teacher, you're a lawyer, you know, that kind of like pharmacy, whatever it is, that's you almost want someone who's got a degree, because you don't necessarily want to. Oh mate,
I don't want someone operating my heart who's learned off YouTube. Like that's just like not where I'm at.
On your apprenticeship.
Like that's not where I'm at. But equally, if you're gonna, like, you know, I think the way that I guess I hire for our team now is that if you have a university background, fantastic, cool, like that's great. But I find that you know, even people with firsts or 2-1s and that kind of stuff, it's not, that doesn't get them the job.
No.
Like how they are in the interview, their experience, or, you know, their attitude. Attitude is the number one reason why I would hire someone, to be honest, like over a lot of things. People can have no experience, but their attitude is great and they're self-aware. They're probably going to get a job at 303.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think you're not even the first person, especially like business owner, to say that. You know, I have a lot of CEOs, especially of companies, which I've gone to and they've said we don't even hire based on, it's not always even experience, it's whether or not you fit the culture and if you fit the brand. Because some companies will have, you know, if you have an outlier, it's very much, you know, it's very much clear that it's there. So I think there's some agents, I think it's easier as well for smaller agencies where you've got less than 100 people, just because as soon as you start scaling bigger and bigger, and I spoke with this of like Ash Jones and stuff, where that their company Great Influence is very small, but I said to him, like, when the business gets bigger, will the culture, you know, will you lose that culture as well? Yeah.
But also he, like Ash, who I've, you know, seen from afar and got a few mutuals with for sure, like he's doing some really cool stuff with Great Influence, but he's also he was at Social Chain when it was like growing really fast. Yeah. And he's obviously seen that cultural development, which Social Chain was really like based around, and was a lot of its success. So, yeah, as much as I know Social Chain's been in the news a lot recently, but I still think that it's still an amazing achievement that's sort of been like looked over a little bit.
No, 100%. And Social Chain's it's a cool company. I've had a few people on who've used to work there, trying to get someone who actually works there currently, because everyone I've had on has actually left. So
there's a lot of shake up, isn't there? They're with Brave Bison now and stuff. Brave Bison's like a beast for sure. Yeah, but good to get them on. They're really cool at what they do. I think it's a cool strategic move that I'm sure we can go into that later down the line. But yes, when it comes to like joining a firm or joining an agency or any business, I think that universities are less of an impact than they maybe were even 5 years ago. Yeah, 100% agree. There's so many people in my team now who've got like incredible education backgrounds, but actually like that was the founding points of where they are now. Like their attitude, their motivations, their skill sets, their ability to want to grow is more valuable to us as a business and more of what we want as well. You know, we want people who are wanting to take things to that next step and you know, kind of drive through a lot of the shit to get to the good stuff.
No, it makes sense. I think, like you said, university, it's not for everyone. You know, I went and it was great and I studied marketing, but I look back and I'm like,
how long did you go for? 3 years?
So mine was 5 years. So
what the fuck were you doing for 5 years?
I did a year at Bradford doing financial planning because I thought I was going to be like a...
I thought you said your course was 5 years.
Oh no, well my course was 4, but then I did a year financial planning at Bradford. Thought I was going to be like a, I don't know, financial advisor, avoid tax somehow.
Nice.
And then obviously wasn't for me, went to Leeds, did 2 years, year in London, then came back and graduated. So I've only graduated 4 years ago. So really? Not long ago, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's mad when like all my friends were graduating and I was kind of like 4 years into 3 or 4 years into like a company, and you know the differences of like where we were at in our lives and stuff. It was definitely a challenge.
No, it's a strange one. I always felt like I was a little bit left behind because then a lot of my friends who didn't go when I graduated, they're like, you said 3-4 years into the career, they've already saving for mortgages, and I'm like, have I wasted my time? But then I look back and think about all the people I've met, all the people who've got connections.
This is the thing though, right? With like life decisions like university, and it's a really negative way of thinking, but it is how I always think, is you're never going to make the right decision. You're always going to lose something, which is really like, oh, it's pessimistic, it's negative. But thinking like that for me is very, very realistic. And you're always going to lose out on something. I might have gone to uni and met someone who is now, you know, built the best business ever. I could have been the number 3 or the number 4 there, and I could be in a better position than I am now and be happier or not happier. Like, but equally I didn't, and I'm where I am. So thinking of like the regret piece, I think is always hard, because I've spoken to so many people that were like, I wish I did what you did and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I've never said I wish I went to uni, because I don't. But, you know, I just think it's hard. You shouldn't regret your time because you've still gained something from it.
Yeah, 100%. Moving on to career-wise, I guess, what's your career been like? I obviously know you said started 303 when you were 17, but like what are those rally media?
Yeah. So we bought Rally last year.
Nice.
We acquired the agency and brought it in-house at 303, which we still have now. And we've had it for just almost a year. And, you know, it's done some cool things, and we're kind of working that out as well. First acquisition's always an interesting one for sure. But yeah, I mean, like my career is pretty simple, to be honest. When I when we say career, it's like anything that pays you something, right? So like I had lots of jobs when I was a kid, from paper rounds to all sorts, to sort of working and cleaning toilets and all that kind of fun stuff. And then, a job I did have part-time, while I was starting 303 was selling hats, which is fucking niche.
Yeah, it's quite neat. It's like London.
Yeah, so there's a street called German Street, which is like the gentleman's street. You know, like Davidoff cigars are there, Church's shoes are there, Hackett's there. Like, you know, it's where you go if you want to get suited and booted. Yeah. And I managed to like kind of land myself a job there, selling like $3,000 Panamas to like, you know, tourists who would come to London and spend a fortune, which was like really cool. And like, it was weird as well because they didn't really have, obviously I was part-time employed, but I was running the shop effectively with another guy, a guy called Ant, who still works on the street today actually. He's really into that kind of space, and we were just selling hats, and like it was a bit commission based, and you know, it was fun, and it was like you meet people and you're in that retail space, but we didn't have a manager. There was no one, like we would open the shop, you know, like I was 16, 17 at the time and stuff. So it was like, it was a bit of a weird setup, but then they brought a manager in who was a really nice guy. But at that point I knew I was going to go and do the business thing.
Are you a big car fan? I know obviously rally, but I assume are you a car guy?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I've got a few cars.
You got Defender.
Got an old Land Rover Defender, which I bought in 2016, which is slowly going to make me bankrupt for sure.
Those things break up.
Oh mate, I've spent more on that car than anything else in my life. But yeah, I mean, I've got like, we've obviously got some company cars, and I've got like I've had some minis and stuff like that. I think, being into cars has always been a thing. I did a lot of work with car YouTubers. So guys like Tom Exton, et cetera, et cetera. Cool. Done various I worked with him on his YouTube channel and stuff like that. So it was kind of into the space. Yeah. But just have a passion for it, I guess. Not like a really in-depth passion. Like I don't know the engine of like a 1999 BMW M3 or something. I just don't know that stuff. No. But like I appreciate cars. I enjoy driving as well. I drive everywhere. And rally obviously is like a great passion because it's anything that moves fast. So I'm actually big into cycling and that kind of thing. So we kind of blend all that stuff together. But I would say I'm into cars, but I'm not like into cars. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Don't wear like trucker t-shirts and stuff like that. No. What about F1?
Mate, massively into F1. I'm kind of like F1 2 years before Drive to Survive happened. I was into F1. Okay. And then I slowly got my girlfriend into it and everything like that. And then Drive to Survive happened, and then all my mates were back into it.
Everyone loves it.
But I was like slightly getting into it. What really got into me into it actually is when they started their YouTube channel, which they started in like 2017, 2018. Okay. They just did the classic like hashing up old races and everything like that. And that got me into it just from that content, and kind of, it was good because you would learn more about the race. And then 2019 comes and Drive to Survive happens, and everyone's obsessed.
Of course, yeah. What have you been to a race yet?
I haven't actually. No. I've almost went to Silverstone last year. So good. But yeah, I haven't been. I definitely, Hector on our team has just come back from Bahrain, and I honestly don't want to talk to him at the moment. He's just like a knob. But no, like he just came back and said it was amazing. But it is just a circus. But I think the popularity is like definitely going. I think it might be topping out a little bit. Okay. I think the recent Drive to Survive series haven't been what people want. Yeah, I've heard it's not very good. Yeah, I think it's good, but it's not great. And the first seasons that everyone got into were great. But also it's because what happens in the season. Whatever happens in the season is how good that show is. Yeah, regulation and stuff as well, though. Yeah. Grosjean crashing and COVID made a good season. You know? Yeah, that's very true. With all respect to Grosjean. But like 2021 was like a bit of a wash away. You know what I mean? Oh, sorry, 2021, was the big championship fight. And then last year was just an easy win. So like it's reflective of that. But I think, F1, because of the States, once they really get into it, I think it will blow up. Because like with Vegas and Miami and Texas and stuff. Yeah, it's going to be so big. It'll be big, yeah. Nice one. I guess as well, linking to obviously 303, what brands do you, I don't know if you're allowed to say this, but what brands do you work with, like clients and stuff? Is anything? Yeah, so like we've worked with like a lot of brands over the years. Obviously, we turned 10 in October. So, you know, since me starting this, we've worked with everyone from kind of San Miguel, BMW to a startup you never heard of because they went under, you know, over the years. So we've done a lot across that. But Today, we predominantly work with premium brands. And the reason why we say premium brands is because we don't look at sectors.
Okay.
We worked in everything from food to fashion to fitness to tech to, whatever that might look like. Predominantly D2C, so direct to consumer brands is kind of where we niche in. We've done B2B and we've done some SaaS and we've done some other bits and pieces, but D2C is where we spend a lot of our time. And yeah, premium brands is really for me, like if a brand feels that they are premium, they care about their brand and they care about the long tail of the brand and building that up, not just mass market selling.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why we say premium brands, is because I guess the communications to potential clients for us and our client list is like, as an agency, we care about your brand. Yes, we want to drive results because we're a creative and performance agency in one place. But what we really care about is the long tail, not just the short wins tomorrow, this month, whatever. They're still very important, but our big successes with clients has been like over years, not weeks. We are fast paced, we are growing, we are always kind of finger on the pulse, as all agencies say they are. But for us, it's really about brand has such a big effect on success of businesses and companies. So that's how we sort of set ourselves.
It's like the Rolexes and the Porsches of the world, kind of.
Yeah, I mean that's like luxury level. It's interesting, right? Like the difference between luxury and premium is a very fine line. A lot of brands will say they're a luxury business.
Yeah.
But if you put luxury in your brand's name, I would say you're not luxury.
I feel like you don't have to say it if you...
Exactly, yeah. And luxury isn't just price point. It's often like very tight niches. It's, the scarcity of the brand. It's all that kind of stuff. And a lot of the time people are premium, but they want to be luxury, but actually they don't want to be luxury because that luxury market is a lot smaller than you can sometimes think. Gucci, for example, you would say it's probably a luxury brand, right?
Yeah.
But actually a lot of people are involved in Gucci now. They would probably say, we don't want the top 1% of the, population of each country buying our product. We want the top 10%, which would make it more premium. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Laura Piana, for example, is an incredibly luxury brand. Not just from a price point, but scarcity of product, etc. Rolex is a luxury, but kind of premium brand. Patek is a very luxury brand because they're on that. Like it's that fine line, and it's all up for perception as well. In my opinion, it's all just down to like what the brand is trying to achieve with that strategy, what that product is, etc. So, yeah. We've worked with lots of luxury brands that are actually luxury. Like we worked with the Burlington Arcade for a long time. It's filled with luxury, brands and luxury goods, but it's also filled with a lot of premium stuff as well.
Do you do, I saw like a lot of the watches. You do a lot of the, you're a watch guy as well.
I would say probably more watches than anything else,
Really?
but like not for sort of like flexing purposes. Like I really like watches as a kind of mystical art, as many ways.
What they stand for as well.
I think it's great from people that buy from investment pieces, fine. But I like the idea that I bought watches for myself and have built up a little collection. But I like £100 swatch or like a $5,000 Rolex. I like both of them for different reasons. I've got some pretty like classic niche watches that everyone has.
Yeah.
And that's cool. But like, I like certain pieces. I like certain brands.
Monaco.
Yeah, exactly. Like my Monaco, everyone always talks about it because they're like, oh, that's like, I didn't think Tag make nice watches, but like the Monaco is like a massive, like the heritage of that is like goes back to Steve McQueen. Like the caliber 11 I've got like is different to the caliber 12 that everyone knows. Like there's just weird stuff like that. But obviously with socials and everything growing in the world, watches have become another flex for people, and I get it for sure. But yeah, I'm not really in it for I would say the flex. I really like the watches and I like what they are. Like the moon swatch thing, which I really love that whole like range and how it came out. Unfortunately, it turned into like a flipping thing and like whatever. But it's like it's a really cool watch. It looks wicked. They all tell the time. It's not what you're buying a watch for.
I love that you've got two because I wanted to get the Whoop band. Because I literally just have this and like a little
Apple Watch.
Yeah, so I got the Apple band. I got some like cheap, nice watches, but like I wanted a Whoop band as well. Yeah, but I wasn't sure if it looked weird.
Mate, so I used to wear. So I've always worn a watch. Like ever since I was, the first watch I bought was a Police watch. Nice. The brand Police that make the eyewear. They made a watch, like they bought a watch. It was like £175. I bought it when I was like 13 or something. I've always had a watch on my wrist. Obviously I'm quite into my fitness and like enjoy knowing about my health and stuff. So I was wearing a watch and an Apple Watch on the other wrist. First thing that's annoying is I wear my watch on the wrong wrist, like you do.
I like it on my right wrist.
So I prefer that.
Why is that? I don't know anyone who does that.
Apparently it's wrong.
Yeah, apparently it's wrong, but because I don't care.
fuck knows.
I'm right-handed as well.
Yeah, so I was wearing an Apple Watch on my left, an actual watch on my right, and it just felt like I was on tag and like going back to prison next week. So when Whoop came out, when Whoop came out, well, when I saw Whoop, I was like, I like what they represent because it's also not a screen. Yeah. I had an Apple Watch for a long time. One, battery was awful, but also I don't need the screen. Yeah. I never take this off apart from showering. Every other time it's attached to me, whereas you've got to take it off to charge it. I put the charger onto this and that's it.
Yeah,
and the charge lasts for 5 days.
Yeah, I heard that. I listened to Steve Bartlett's podcast with the
that's
the
Convert
CEO.
Me.
Yeah, and
with Will.
Yeah, and that was a good pod. That was really good.
It was really I mean, I think Whoop is. You see, this is the thing with like brands. Like you just don't realize when things start. I randomly last night was watching like a really old BBC show where Peter Jones from Dragon's Den was visiting Innocent. This must have been like, I think it was filmed in 2007. Like Innocent was started in 1999. Like that's how old that company is now. So it's like 24 years old.
Were they on Dragon's Den?
No, they weren't. But he like, it's a different spin-off show where he goes and meets the founders, and they were talking about, it was when kind of like Google style working was a big thing, which obviously it's now huge, but like that conversation of like how old some of these businesses are. Like Whoop is really old as a company, but they've been like going at it for so long, and now they're getting that success. It's everyone wants to be a massive company in 2 years.
It's the I only heard of it when I know this is going completely off topic, gone from watches to Whoop bands, but because I do like a lot of CrossFit, so a lot of the CrossFit athletes wear them, so that's the only reason I heard of it. And I was like, oh no, it's a lot of money. Then I got an Apple Watch, and I was like, oh, I need a Whoop now, because everyone's got them and they're great.
I like the app, I like the interface. This is not sponsored by Whoop, but yeah, I like everything about it. I've had a Fitbit, I've had an Apple Watch and stuff. Whoop's been the best one for me. So yeah, I'd buy one. Use my referral code though, so I get some money.
OllyWhoop.10.
So you get a referral code and then you get like a free year.
Oh, do you actually?
If I get 3 referrals, you get like a whole free year.
Refer me after this.
Definitely. And if anyone wants it, holler.
Yeah, please. Speaking of brands, obviously brands you work with, but is there any brands that you look at what they do, like campaigns and stuff, and absolutely love? Is there any examples you can think of?
Yeah, there's a couple. I think I'm quite into like fitness, I guess. Everyone says they're into fitness. I basically care about my health, is the way I say it. But yeah, there's a few brands in the space like Panel Mal, which is a cycling brand, which no one really knows how to say. I don't even know if I've said it right. Some people say Past Normal Studios, but I say Panel Mal. Like really, really cool brand. I like I think from what I do as a job and what I've done for so long, I love it when people really care about brand and campaigns and like those sort of touch points where like, you can go and do a photo shoot with a white background and stuff, but you put some effort in. I really love what they do. I like the quality of product. I like what they stand for and stuff like that. But there's definitely a couple. The other one that I've seen a lot of is UVU, which is kind of like it's a streetwear brand. Okay. But they do a lot of fitness stuff. It's a couple of kind of key. There's a brand called Cole Buxton.
I don't think
it's like a sort of London-centric brand. Okay, they're super streetwear. They're very much growing. The guy that started that, a guy called Cole Buxton, he started another brand with a couple other people in the fitness space called UVU, and they just do really cool shit. They're not doing anything that's like massively like mass market and trying to be everywhere, but they've really niched down into what they want to do with the brand. Okay. I also like the fact that there's clearly a few people involved and influenced by it. So they're really cool. But yeah, apart from that, they're the kind of main ones. I think Gymshark is one of the most impressive businesses I've ever seen. Yeah, I agree. I think Ben is incredibly inspiring from one business owner to another type thing. I think the journey that he's been on is with everything, to be honest. I wish founders spoke more about hard shit. You know, like I think it's the topic and we're getting close to it in that way. But like when you run a business, like you go through hell and back. And I think Ben is in a position where he's definitely gone through some hard stuff, you know, with Lewis, I think it's the other chap that was involved. And like, you know, growing a business to be £1 billion company is fucking hard. In lots of yeah. And I guess that like, I understand why, you know, as owners, you don't want to talk about hard shit. And like, I've gone through loads of stuff, which I probably won't even talk about for a while. But, you know, I just think with Ben, he has the opportunity to do that. I think Gymshark is going to continue to innovate as a business. They've got such great people there. You know, like people like Gary Vee are on their board. Peter, I can't remember his second name, who's the temporary CEO, is there. Like they've got such experience and knowledge behind it. I guess for me, it's the terminal velocity piece that I just don't know where it gets to. That's why I think I rate, as much as I've never bought anything from them. That's why I think Supreme. Yeah, I've never bought Gymshark, but I was going to say I've never bought anything from like Supreme. No. But what I like about Supreme is how they've influenced so much more than just clothing. I really enjoy that element of like their brand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never really been a big Gymshark guy, to be honest. I've always been like a bit of Lululemon and like some Nike stuff, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really respect the brand. I think it's epic, and I think what they've done is like insane. I kind of excited to see what's next. I feel like there's something coming. I feel like there's something that they would do in the space. Like seeing their Regent Street store open was really cool.
I've not been to it yet. I was going to go today if I had time.
It's really cool. Like the fact that like the mannequins, I can never say that word, but you know what I mean? There you go.
Actual people.
Yeah, they're like the actual people, and like the way the store is, and like the distribution, and the fact they're opening up a store when everything's going online. Like I love all that stuff. It's wicked. But I feel like with Ben, there's like the cusp of like really knowing a lot more about that. I think founders just need to talk more about realities.
Yeah, 100%. No, I when I saw that, I thought it was a bit counterintuitive how they were opening a store, but I don't think it was obviously was it for a revenue thing, or do you reckon it was more just for like a?
Well, I heard that they've got a distribution center in the store.
Okay.
So I think where they're probably trying to get to, and there's some businesses doing this really well. Like there's one called Bodo who actually we've been chatting with recently, but express delivery, like half an hour delivery for product, is a thing that's happening.
No.
In terms of like Amazon bots on the street and drones and shit like that.
Amazon same day delivery.
But not same day, but like you want something and you can get it within London within half an hour delivered to your door.
Only in London.
Only in London. I forget you're from north.
Never on north.
Yeah. But like that's coming, and I think that Gymshark might be positioning for that.
Okay.
And I think that you know, Regent Street is just a powerhouse. Like we've worked with, you know, brands in that neck of London, Burnings Arcade being one, which is just around the corner, and it's such high influence. Like you get like the average shopper is there to spend. Like people are going there with high purchase intent. They're wanting to spend their cold hard cash. So I think Gymshark have obviously made the move to think that that's going to be an opportunity for them. Also, they're launching products where they probably do want to try them on. You know, they probably do want that element of it, and you know, they probably need to have that presence on that street. But I think that there's probably an online play there that is going to help their express delivery inside London, because they're obviously based in Birmingham, right?
Yeah, solid.
So like if you want express delivery in London and you pair that with a retail space, with a brand space, you've got this 3-in-1 approach to a brand. I don't know if this is actually what they're doing. This is what I'm just assuming they're doing.
Okay.
But there is a thing now where like you can get stuff within 30 minutes delivered to you in London, like food.
That's mental.
Like it's like food, but like anything else. Clothes.
Going out tonight and got a top.
Or it's your mum's birthday and you've got her to buy her a candle from Joe Malone. You'll get that candle delivered to your office in 15 minutes.
It's not. Yeah, it's the world's weird, isn't it? It's going to a strange place. Yeah, up north, you're lucky to get your Amazon package 2 days later and not left out in the rain.
But have you got Uber there yet? I'm joking. That was a joke.
We only just got roads last week, actually.
Really?
Yeah, we do have it. It's terrible where I live, though. It's terrible. Here, it's like 2 minutes.
Do you have a Lime bike there yet?
No, that really annoys me because I like the scooters here because I shouldn't say it really says, but I do occasionally go on a night out in London and go on back on a scooter through like Barnes at like 2 a.m. It's probably not a good idea. I've decked it a few times.
Yeah, you deserve it.
Yeah, it's illegal, I think. So we might have to cut that bit out. Okay, so next question.
You get done for scooter crime after this podcast.
We've all done it at least once. What would you say is your biggest career high so far?
Oh, fuck. Biggest career high. I think, weirdly, and Sam, who is on my team, is currently listening to this, but I think weirdly for me, like the biggest thing that I would say I'm very proud of is the ability to still be here.
Yeah.
I think like it's so easy when you're going through really hard shit, and I've been going through some hard shit in the last sort of like year, 18 months, you know, going through that stuff and still being able to show up every day and have what you've always dreamt of, like is the high that I forget to live quite a lot. I was saying more recently that like I struggle to celebrate wins. Like I just do. And like, it's a really annoying thing because especially for my team, like everyone probably thinks, oh, he didn't give a fuck. I do. I can't. It's a natural thing inside of me where I don't want to be high-fiving just yet because like, cool, we've done that thing, we've achieved that goal, or we've won that client, or we've done really well there.
Though?
But what's next? And it's almost like a bit of like it's a holdback for you, you know? It's like, it's always there. So for me, like the biggest goal is the ability to say that, you know, on our 10th birthday, I would have been able to do this for 10 years. And that's kind of down to the team and me and us as a group of people. You know, people have come and gone through my business. You know, we've got the different headcount and different team size to what we had a year ago. And like, that's the nature of running a company for sure. But yeah, staying, I guess, alive in all of this, like as a business is been pretty tricky for sure. So yeah, I think that would be a goal as much as it's not like an actual goal. It feels like a goal.
No, absolutely. And I guess the flip side of that is, what would be your biggest career low?
Biggest career low. There's been a lot for sure. I wouldn't say I could pick out one. There was a time like last year where we lost a lot of clients, and we didn't win as many because of the uncertainty that was thrown around, I guess, the world, the UK. Not to blame Liz Truss, but fucking hell. You know what I mean? Like just that, and just like, you know, sometimes when you run a business, you can wake up and be like, I'm going to have a positive day. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get that. I'm going to do this. And you get in and everything works against you and everything goes wrong. And that's like, being an entrepreneur is meant to be sexy and fun, but it's often not. The times that it is sexy and fun are amazing, but they are very slim, you know, and they aren't frequent. Sometimes they are. Sometimes, like 2021 for me was like an amazing year.
Yeah.
We literally tripled the business in a 12-month period. Everything was working against us. We were like, this is fucking awesome. This is great. And then 2022, we were just getting beaten up left, right, and center, and we're still hungover from it. And that mentally was really hard. And I guess what I'm talking about now is a thing that I think that other founders really have to talk about, because everyone's always talking about being an entrepreneur and starting a business and how cool it is and everything like that. Yeah. And I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying you've got to really realize what you're walking into, because you're going to learn new things. You know, whether you're better at than me or you're worse at it than me, it's going to be hard still. So yeah, I think the lows do happen for sure, man.
Oh, no, 100%. It's
for
like
sure.
It's like that saying where people see the overnight success, but then the overnight success is 10 years long. Which I guess in your case it actually is 10 years long. It's just,
No, for sure. I mean, that's definitely been like a thing. Like 2021, getting to that point, that took 8 years to get to that point. And look, like, granted, there are people that have started agencies. Like I can't remember the guy's name. Is it Robin from Journey Further?
Yeah, Robin Skidmore.
Yeah. So his background, if I'm right, is like Journey Further's 3-4 years old.
Something
like that.
4 or 5,
yeah. Which is, and it's flying. It's doing
still
so
really
well.
New,
like
it's
still really new. But he worked in the space for like 10 years before that.
Company,
so it's just like, everyone's always going, you know, Journey Further, and people talk about Journey Further, like they talk about Ash from Great Influence, or all these people that are like recognized as utter overnight successes and heroes. They've been working here for such a long time, whether it's in a job or in a career or in a different career. They've been hustling their way through it, as much as hustle culture's got so many cliches around it, but like, they've been working their asses off just to get to that point. Nothing happens overnight. No. Not a single part of it. Like, whether you're a singer, whether you're like in finance, whether you're like an athlete, none of it happens overnight. And I think generally the people that I guess at the top of these pyramids of people starting things and everything like that, I've just got to remember it, because I forget it all the time. I'm always being like, shit, I need to move faster. Shit, I'm behind. Shit, I'm not where I want to be. Shit. You know, hope you last right on this podcast.
That's fine.
But like, you know, all of that stuff. And actually what you've got to just remember is, like, if you compare yourself to other people, which I think is a bad thing to do personally. Personally, is to compare yourself to other people. I wouldn't do it. But if you do, actually you'll compare yourself to them. Actually compare everything you know about them and get the truth of that and compare yourself, because I bet you there's a lot more there. It's easy to look on LinkedIn and say, oh, they've had that business for 2 years and it's flying. Look at the rest of it. Look at the career before that. Look at the struggle. Look at the pain.
No, I think Journey Further is a good example, because like you said, Robin, he's in the US now actually, but he's building out their US New York office. But their brand is insane. Like I think I saw them. I think I interviewed for them actually about 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago. I think there was about 60 people, and now they're over 150, 4 offices, absolutely smashing clients. Like it's insane. Like it's ridiculous what they're doing. So I think that's a good example of like. Yeah, people see like overnight success and they see like the fluffiness of being an entrepreneur.
And also, like, again, I'm not taking anything away from Journey further because I really respect their brand and the business for sure. But that growth, the pain of that growth is immense.
Yeah.
Like it's so intense, sorry, to grow like that. So it looks great and exciting on the outside, but I bet you Robin has gone through some really hard shit to get there. And that's why he deserves to be applauded because he's gone through it and he's come out the other side. And right now, today, I'm recording this podcast. Him sitting in New York, he might be having the worst day of his life.
Yeah,
we just don't know. And like, it's impossible to compare yourself when you're feeling a little bit down, or you're feeling really down, or you're feeling really happy. The comparisons are a killer.
No, I do agree. I think there's a lot of things people don't see and notice as well, which I guess is also it's that thing as well. Like it hides. Like I think you've said it before as well on another podcast where the idea of entrepreneur, the word entrepreneur, it's not always like the best word to use. Like I think you prefer as a business owner.
I guess it's more like I'm a bit weird about it. I don't really know why. I always talk about this, but like I don't really know why I'm weird about it. But I think the word entrepreneur is like a bit of I wouldn't say dirty word, but I just think that like a lot of people call themselves an entrepreneur, and I don't think they've got that point to where they can. I think that if someone says, what do you do? I always say I'm a business owner because that's what I am. Yeah. But I think sometimes when you say you're an entrepreneur, what does that mean? Can anyone be an entrepreneur if they start like
t-shirt company?
A t-shirt company. Do you know what I mean? Like, and yes, they are. And I'm not saying I'm better than them, but I'm equally saying that like, yes, Richard Branson, some will call him an entrepreneur. I would say he's an owner of multiple businesses. Like that's, I think for me, more of what he is. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like entrepreneur is just turning into like everyone's that. You know, what does that?
Everyone's got Instagram bio.
Yeah, what does it really mean? Like, does that mean that you just work for yourself? Does it mean like, what does it mean? Whereas for me, I would say I own a business. I run a business.
Intangible, which you can actually see in touch.
It's probably an insecurity.
No, I do agree. If you do think about it, it does actually make a lot of sense because. I mean, I would never call myself an entrepreneur. I'd say I do a podcast. I don't like talking about that sometimes because I feel a bit like if I talk about it too much, people are like, oh, he's full of himself. He's got a pod. And every time I go places now, I am like, oh, this dickhead, he's got a podcast. Yeah.
Mate,
goes to the pub. Everyone's like, he's got a podcast.
I was speaking to the team literally about this kind of thing this morning. When I started my business at 17, I used to post loads on Instagram. I've kind of fallen out of love with the platform a little bit. I don't really like post much content. I mainly post on like LinkedIn and things like that. But I used to post like every day. And bear in mind, I was at school when like, you know, everyone's a dickhead at school. Everyone is. They just are. Everyone's got hormones running through them and whatever. So like everyone is tough, you know? And I started my business and I started posting about it on Instagram and talking about it and whatever. And everyone took the piss. Everyone. Yeah. My girlfriend at the time, my best mates, like everyone was like, you're an idiot, don't do it, like stupid, whatever, yeah. And then through that, like I started posting on Instagram, more people took the piss more. I'm like, cool. People just like winding you up all the single time about it, about whatever it might be, and just being like, oh, why are you posting on Instagram? What gives you the right, blah, 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 like who do you think you are? You think you're famous, etc., etc. And I was like, no, I'm just trying to achieve something. And you take the flack for a long time. Recently and before, not that recently, but I've had people that took the piss out of it apply to work here.
Yeah.
And that was like full circle moment. And you're like, cool, I get it. And it's fine if you want to take the piss out of what people are trying to achieve and everyone's trying to be an influencer and all that kind of stuff. I get it. But like, you know who your mates are in those situations. Like, you know who is going to always be rooting in your corner. Yeah. Whether or not you go into being an OnlyFans model or you go into starting a business, you know that if your mates are your mates and they believe in you and they are your actual friend, they will support you. Yeah. You know, with that, they might be cautious of the decision and want to give you advice and be worried about you, but your mates are your mates.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I've had I've had some similar things. I did like.
What were you about to say? I got OnlyFans there.
Pause. Yeah. Sorry, Mom. No, I don't. I just have got a podcast. It's fine. No, I've had the same thing where I've posted stuff on LinkedIn and then I've gone to like say the pub on that Friday afternoon, and the friend's like, oh mate, and they'll quote like the post, and I was like, but before I hated it. It's like I never used to share or my podcast would only go on LinkedIn. Now it's on Facebook, it's on can't even think of what else it is. Facebook, and then I post it on Instagram stories as well. But because before I was like embarrassed, like, oh, what if they see me doing a podcast? And then I go to the gym, and like, they got the guys coming to me like, oh, I didn't know you had a podcast. Listen to that episode; it was really, really good.
Yeah.
And I've had like people message me who I'd never even met, like saying, oh, mate, that pod was really good. Like really,
it's just burning bridges, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
If you burn a bridge, like you burn the bridge. Like, and if you've got a opinion that really you think is that important, that's that negative to give someone about it, like give it, but it will bite you in the ass. Yeah, like it just will.
100%. You know? Speaking of, I know you mentioned Journey Further. Obviously, their culture's like everyone knows. If they know the business, the culture's immense. Like it's just very well set. What for you, especially like here, what for you makes a good culture or positive culture?
We've gone through that process a lot. You know, we've had great culture, we've had bad culture, we've had positive culture, we've had more negative culture, we've had it all. And yeah, it's even to this day, we're something we're really trying to work out. It's something that is hard when you grow a team as well, because you have a set group of people. Like, you know, some of the guys on my team have been with me for like 3-4 years now. And during that time, they've seen everything from me being really involved and trying to dictate the motivation of the team, and then me be not as involved and be doing a different sort of job within the company. So yeah, I think culture is actually a really hard thing to get right, because everyone wants a different culture and a different setup. It's definitely something that as a business, we have gone through stages of prioritizing and then not prioritizing and then not sure what it is and then having different opinions on it and then having different influences in the culture. So it's something that we're really working out. But I think for me, the ideal culture in any business is somewhere when anyone can come in and they can be trusted to do the work. They can be motivated when doing the work, and they can be inspired by everyone around them. For me, that's the perfect culture. I think there are so many businesses where they'll have a great culture for a week and then a bad culture for the following week and then a great culture for a few days and it change. And as kind of a leader, like it's probably one of the things I've struggled with the most is getting the culture right in the company, because what I want is different from what people want, and I haven't been an employee really, so I don't know fully what it's like, so I've got to listen to the team more. So yeah, it's something that we've as a business, and again, I like being honest about these things. I think a lot of businesses struggle about getting their culture right. And it's not intentional. It's not that it's not that it's not that I don't care about culture. It's just that I'm trying to work out what it is and how to influence it and how to create a great version of it. Culture is like how we treat the hard moments and how we treat the great moments. Often I think your culture is defined when you're in the shit.
Yeah. I feel like it's like the personality of a business. And also I think it's tough because people, especially other companies, they'll think they can buy culture. They're like, we can buy that football table, we can buy that table tennis table, we can buy the beers on Friday. Yeah. When it's not about that, it's like being flexible with people if like they're not having a great time with their mental health, or if they need to work at home for a week, or if they've got a new dog and they need to look after it for a month.
No, definitely. Like I think culture is really associated with time a lot at the moment, which I don't know if is the right approach. Okay. When I say I don't know is the right approach, I always sort of question it as like, does culture mean the flexibility and the time piece, or does culture mean like the motivation piece? Is it the inspiration piece? Is it how the company treats hard times, etc. So, but yeah, man, like even 10 years later, we're still not perfect. Like
it's ever changing. I don't think cultures are set.
Oh, mate, for sure. Like, and it's always been different. Like we've had moments where we want to be really strict on things, and then when we're trying to be more flexible, but then we're kind of giving this but needing this back from it. But I think there is a point where you can have great culture, but that conversation that's happening a lot at the moment, I think the balance really has to be understood by team and I guess employees of like, if you're going somewhere that's got a perfect culture, the moment you probably don't perform in your role, it's likely that you'll be removed from that equation, because to have perfect culture, you've got to be delivering on what you do in your role, whether you're a team assistant or a head of paid or whatever it might be. There's that balance. And I think that, you know, businesses are always it's within our interest as owners to want to have a great culture, because it affects so much of how the business operates and works. I don't ever want to have to turn around and be like, our business has got bad culture. And there's definitely been moments where I'd be like, oh, our business culture is a bit rough at the moment. We need to sort this out, you know? But it's a challenge. It's hard.
No, it's definitely a tough one. And I think I've spoke to every single guest about it for me. Because obviously for me, it's super interesting, because then when I say go for a new job or go somewhere, like the first thing is it's not necessarily salary or location. It's like, what does it feel like when I walk into the building? What's like the management like? Obviously, does it pay enough?
Yeah.
That's obviously still important, and where is it? And like, what are the people like? But for me, it's always, do I feel comfortable when I walk into that door? Do I feel like I'm being judged? Do I feel like it's just, it is like like I said, it's like the personality of a company. So it's definitely one. I'm sure there's like 100 books out there about it, and I don't think there's anything you can really buy or there's nothing you can read that's going to tell you. I think
what you have to do is you have to experience bad culture to learn what good culture is.
Yeah,
so for us, I think we'll get to a place where we love our culture because we've gone through the bad culture.
So you know what works and what doesn't.
Well, you just know what definitely doesn't work. You know, like how, you know, an employee who probably needs to leave the business but they're still there, or she's still there, whoever it is still there. You know, that shows you how it impacts culture, or, you know, how you as a leader, if you're having a hard day or a bad day and you influence the team because you're in a shit mood, and then you make everyone else feel like they're in a shit mood, you know, that influences bad culture. So 100%. It's not the big things, it's the little things. It's the little increments that like are really tough. You know, it's another thing that you kind of end up adding to your to-do list as an owner or an operator, or at the top level, you add to the to-do list of like, right, I need to sort that out. And it feels like such a big task, but you know, sometimes you've got to understand that everyone sees things in a different way. Yeah,
no, 100%. It's a big topic I could speak about all day, to be honest. Got a few more questions left, but I guess one question I always ask every single guest is, how would you define success if you could?
Satisfaction. Okay. I think there's everyone always says happiness, but I think for me it's satisfaction that makes me happy. I think being when I felt like I've had success is when I've been very satisfied, and satisfied of like we've achieved that thing, or I've achieved that thing, or we've got to that milestone. I think for me, I don't want to get to the age of 70 and have any regrets.
Okay.
I want to just get to the age of 70 and feel really satisfied that I used my time the best way I could. I think satisfaction also comes from like having dips and having really high peaks. You know, you've got to experience both to understand what satisfaction is. But yeah, I think being satisfied as a human being, a lot of the time you're not. You know, you make £1 million and you're not satisfied.
Yeah.
That's why everyone says money doesn't make you happy. Well, actually, if you deploy that £1 million in the right way, there's a high chance you could be satisfied. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? Or you achieve a certain job role and you're not happy. It's probably because you're not satisfied. So that's for me where I think personally a lot of my overall goals will come for is trying to get the level of satisfaction. I don't need to make £1 billion.
No.
Do I want to make £1 million? Probably. Everyone fucking does. You know, do I want to make a few tens of millions? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But will I get to a point in my life where I just want to make 100 grand for the rest of my life? Like, cool. If I'm satisfied, I'll be happy with that. Everyone's always chasing that next goal, that next thing, everything.
Yeah.
You know, I might have to chase a few goals that I have in my mind to feel satisfied. But that's kind of, I guess, where I'd like to get to.
Yeah, I think everyone says happiness. I feel like being content, because you like happiness is, I feel like, is a state of mind, right? Like, I think you can never always be happy. You don't wake up and you're singing the birds. Like, it's not like that. You being content with your job, and I feel like having that Sunday night, no fear on a Sunday night, going to work on a Monday, that's a big thing. I mean, we've all had it at some point where,
man,
like,
100%.
I mean, like you said, paper round earlier. I used to hate Sunday nights because then you had to get up every morning at 6:20 to do a paper round. And then now, like my job now, like I don't mind going to bed late on a Sunday because I'm looking forward to going to work on Monday.
You also should look at it as a scale. You know, like I've in recent times had like crazy Sunday scaries, just crazy ones, like really intense levels, and that might be surprising for some, might not be that surprising for others, but like it happens to me all the time. Like, all the time. Like I'm not a finished article at all, and I go through exactly the same emotions that everyone goes through, and we all do. You know, no matter what level you're at, everyone has that time. The question, I guess, is like, how long does that sustain for, and is that, if you feel that that's going to be like your life, you're always going to have that because you're set up, then that's maybe time for a change. But I guess for me, doing this for so long, I know that there are massive lows and there are incredible highs where I literally am gutted that it's Friday and I can't wait for Monday because I'm on that much of a high, and that's amazing. But you know, you've got to look at them as a bigger data set, not just that one Sunday or that one day. work through it and learn, because that's part of growth.
No, 100%. The future of 303.
Yeah.
What, if you'd like to say, what is it?
Future of 303. So like we're really focused at the moment for 2023 on sustainable growth. Okay. We're still a growing business and we're looking to grow. We've obviously experienced, as everyone has, some turbulent times in recent years. So for us, it's about sustainable growth, which is really about understanding where we want to go as a business and where we want to get to. And then kind of from 24 to 27, we're really looking at getting to a scalable level. For us, though, we want to build a business that is sustainable. I guess that's a big question that, we've learned, especially going through such hyper growth, is that, yes, we'd like to be growing at rates that are pretty crazy, but we want to grow in a sustainable way. We want to grow in a way that isn't bootstrapped as much, that isn't as stressful as much. Growth is great. Growth is a vibe and you love it and it's so exciting. But when growth is high risk and very intense, it's very likely that it's not very stable. And at that point, the wheels start to fall off a little bit and you start to feel, and that's when business can become shit. So actually for me, the lessons I've learned over the last 4 years is really about like grow your business 100%, but grow it in a sustainable way that means that you can disconnect from it, because that's where for me, I've always struggled to disconnect the most when we are growing the fastest, because it's so intense. Like everyone's like, I want to grow. How do I do that sales course to grow? Or how do I do that to grow? Or how do I spend more money on ads to grow? And actually sometimes don't just wish your life away and try and get your goals quicker. Just grow in a more sustainable way, because that's the long tail, and that's really where we're at as a business.
No, nice.
Grow a business that we're proud of, grow a business that achieves great things, deliver on what we do, which is grow through creativity. Like that's what we're about. But at the end of the day, have a business that's sustainably growing, not one that is sharp up and sharp down and sharp up and sharp down, because businesses like that are fucking hard to run.
Yeah. No, 100%. No, that's it's a good answer. And I think it leads on to the next one of, I guess, what's the future for you, like personally? Yeah,
I mean, I love this thing. Like it's just like my absolute child and baby and everything. So yeah, I'm really committed to it for the sort of next 5 to 10 years of my life. I'm a kid still, so by the time it gets to that age, I'll still be 35. So I've got loads of time. But really understanding it and growing it to a scale that we can do a lot of things. 303 could evolve in so many ways, and that's what's really exciting about it, is that we've got creative, we've got media, we've got digital, we can run ads, we can grow brands, we can do everything, but there's so much of brands that we can also get involved with, which is I guess what we're excited for.
No, I'm looking forward to seeing it. It'd be great. This is a question for me. What if you could recommend someone for a podcast? A guest, anyone you would think of top of your head, who would it be?
Oh shit. What, that I know them?
Yeah, you know them. Yeah.
I know them. Yeah. Okay, fuck. Who am I going to suggest? Not you, Sam. No, I will have some people. I've got a thing though. Fuck, you should have pre-warned me about this. I will think.
We come back to it if you want.
No, I will have someone. I can't think of anyone.
No, that's fine. And then the final question, which we ask all guests, is if you could change one thing about the world, what would it be?
Patience. Okay. Bit more patience in the world. I think would get us a long way. It's a key value for us at 303. It's something that I've never had, which is why I would like to change the world, because it would change me on it. I think I'm influenced by other people's lack of patience, and that creates a lack of patience in me. And I think that's one thing that I would love for the world to have a bit more of, is just a bit more patience with each other, ourselves, and what we do.
It's grand.
Thanks, man.
Perfect, mate. Thank you very much. I was going to say thanks for being on the pod, but I think thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. We'll send you the studio bill at the end of the podcast. No, mate, thanks so much, and congrats on the pod.
Cheers, mate.
It is, starting these things is very difficult. So congrats on the success, and hopefully this episode gets some love and attention.
Sure it will.
But mate, congrats.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.